Hey, greetings everyone. We want to introduce a new group that's coming to Dallas-Fort Worth starting in the middle of October, just a little before the middle of October. Group48.com. Go check it out, sign up and get pre-registered. What we're here to help you do is solve this problem. Are you tired of spending big fees with groups that don't help you really in your business? So we're going to solve that by having an array of instructors, some quality education information. But what we're going to be providing is that one-on-one walk through your business with you hand in hand to help you with those individual things, right? So today I want to introduce you one of our instructors that's going to help us with the personal mind growth development module. And these are going to be sessions that are available online, but mostly available in person, right? So we're going to have all the meetings and all the cool stuff too. But what we're really after is helping you find the best version of yourself to have a better business at no matter what level or stage you're at. Come check us out. So today we want to meet John Peterson.
What's up, everybody?
He's going to be helping us. And John, I want to just kind of maybe ask you a few questions so we can kind of learn about you.
Okay.
And then that way the audience would know what kind of expectations they can have maybe going through some of your courses, right?
Cool.
So John Peterson, just so you know, a quick bio, 17 years real estate?
Actually 33 now.
33 years real estate. So it's been a while. It's been a minute. Right?
Yeah.
So real estate license, been a broker,
Haven't been a broken investor.
Been an investor. So you've had several cycles of the economy that you've gone through. And then you've been a part of the training of the old Keller Williams training and development, which is always great stuff.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about your background, but then I've got a few questions to ask that maybe helps for people to see who we have in the ranks of our
Yeah,
our
absolutely.
group. Yeah.
So originally from El Paso, Texas. So all my El Pasoans out there. Moved out to, let me back up. So born and raised in El Paso. My dad has a construction company back home. And so that's how I kind of grew up in the business. Rumor has it that I started going to work with him when I was like 18 months old. And then every summer, had a job making extra money and stuff like that. So growing up in the construction field, my dad started buying rentals. So that's how I started getting into real estate. Then in 2007 is when I started investing. I was married. And so my wife at the time was very good at interior decorating. I was good at finding the deals and negotiating them, and boom, we're off to the races, right? And I think within 2 years, we did like 9 or 11 properties, but then the market tanked. Right, that's when everything hit.
Right,
and so everything was really, really bad. So we moved. That's when we moved from El Paso to Dallas. That's why we moved to Dallas.
Oh.
Because my friends that were in real estate in Dallas were like, dude, you can buy stuff for 50 cents on the dollar. Where East and West Coast was 10 cents on the dollar. So it hadn't hit as bad in Texas, right? Because we have everything. We're pretty much self-sufficient as a state. So we moved here, and then things just continued to go down financially, bro. It was terrible. And so long story short, she ended up cheating on me. Came home to an empty house twice. Wow. People were like, how do you come home to an empty house twice? I said, because when she left the first time, took all the kids, took everything, I was chasing her. I was a crazy guy chasing her for 6 months. Got her back, tried to make it work again. She did it again. And so anyways, it was at that lowest point in my life, bro, right? Like I got evicted where I was at. My car was repoed. I have a screenshot of it somewhere. I'm trying to find it, but I had a bank account that was negative $1,400. I didn't even know you could go that negative, but with all the bounce fees, bro, you can get that negative.
So I have a picture of it. You.
yeah, exactly, dude. Right? I was like, can you do that? Negative $1,400? And so, dude, it was at my lowest low that for the first time, honestly, bro, I thought about suicide. Right? I thought about, I've never done drugs. I've never been drunk, right? And even though I'm from El Paso and some of my friends are drug dealers and, all that kind of stuff, but it was just something I didn't want to do. But for the first time, because it's hurt and pain, there's I love to cook and I can't even think of it. It's like a mortar set, but what do you say it in Spanish? Where you put the herbs in there and you have the mortar and you crush it like when you're going to make a salsa?
Molcajete.
Molcajete.
Yep.
I felt like those herbs being crushed, bro, with what I went through.
Yeah.
Right? Because the lies she was doing, she was cheating on me, all that stuff, right? And I found out later, like just spreading the craziest lies about me, right? Turning people against me, even my old pastor. My old pastor, bro, I remember I was so crushed, called him one time, took him 3 days. We talked once. He was just very cold. I didn't understand why, right? Been into this guy for 25 years. He was just a jerk, bro. And I was like, wow, is this what happens when people get divorced? Well, then fast forward a couple days, I call him and leave a message. It takes 3 days for him to call me back. I'll never forget. He finally calls me back and says, "Hey man, sorry I've been busy, but I just got to the airport. I'm jumping on a flight in 10 minutes. What's up?" Wow. He knows what's up. He knew the whole story.
Right.
So basically I have 10 minutes to talk.
Yeah.
So I said, "You know what, man, I'm good."
Yeah.
So it's like, because of the lies and stuff that she spread, bro, it was weird. Everyone turned their back on me, right? So I had no one. I'm having thoughts of suicide. My younger two brothers went down the road of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. My youngest brother died in prison at 26. So that's how I got into the school, speaking about choices.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
But it was at this point, bro, where I had no one.
Yeah.
Absolutely no. I'm literally crying, dude, out to God. And what I realized with this divorce is I got time.
Yeah.
It was weird. All my friends, dude, it's kind of sad, but they were just like, "Go start sleeping around. You know, the best way to get over someone is to get under someone." I'm like, that's kind of sick, but no thank you, right? And so, I don't know, dude, I jumped into the Bible and started learning these spiritual principles. So I remember reading a verse. I can't quote it right now as far as the exact verse and chapter, but it said, "Capture every thought and take it captive."
Yeah.
And I was like, that's an option?
Yeah.
So then I realized this thought of suicide and getting drunk and all, right? And I just remember thinking like, dude, why am I thinking this? And then I realized those are not my thoughts. Because this verse I do know, it's my favorite verse, John 10:10, right? Like we talked about old school, in the Bible it's in red, Jesus said it. "The thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy.
Right.
I've come to give you life and life more abundantly."
Right.
So going back to capturing every thought, I thought, okay, every thought that has to do with killing, stealing, or destroying, or hurting is not from God.
Right.
Everything.
Even for yourself. Yeah.
Exactly, brother. So then I was just like, okay, so I actually started speaking, right? So like when a thought of suicide or fear, whatever would come, because it's a spiritual realm, you can't, right? Like it's not physical. So I, in my mind, looked at it like a person or a thing that I could speak to. So when that thought of suicide or whatever came, or even hurting my ex, bro, I'm from El Paso. Like people forget you can make people disappear for $500. And
right.
Like keeping it real, right? And even sometimes when I tell my testimony, people are like, "You shouldn't say that." And I'm like, that's what happened.
It's reality, yeah.
It's reality. Because other people are having those thoughts. I'm not the
Yeah.
only one going through a divorce, getting super screwed over,
Yeah.
right? So now I can relate to those people. So anyways, when those thoughts, whatever they are, bro, would come, I learned that, one, that's not my thought, and two, I can speak to that thought according to the scripture and rebuke it, which was powerful, right? So now, learning, and so I started doing that, bro. I started rebuking it in the name of Jesus, telling it it had to go. So with that said, I was like, bro, this works.
So where was that? So like we heard your upbringing.
Yeah.
You're kind of a traditional family,
Yeah.
hardworking values, like a lot
Raised
of us.
in the church. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
raised in church even. And all of this still even happens to us. Life happens. So where was it about age or lifespan when you found that pivot moment, right? Where you knew that, hey, I actually can do something about that with the help and power of something else, right? What year of your life was that? Or
I would say that point, brother, where I was laying on the bed crying.
Yeah. How old were you?
God.
Like from
This is probably 20, let me think. I think all this happened, bro, around 2011.
Okay.
So that was what, 12 years ago?
Yeah.
I'm 50, so I was 37, 38.
Cool.
So I'd heard all these stuff growing up in church, right? We all go to church, but I wasn't applying it.
Sure.
You hear it, like that's great, that helped that person, right? And then even when you read those verses in Romans that says we're supposed to live by the Spirit, like, yeah, you kind of, okay. But it wasn't until I was at my rock bottom. So like I tease, I've been to hell and back and got the t-shirt.
Yeah.
And that's what helps with my confidence now, is not only did I hit rock bottom,
right.
lose everything and everybody because of the lies she was spreading lies that I was beating her, all kinds of crazy stuff, right? I didn't realize until late, and that I was cheating on her, to spin it because that way she wasn't the bad person.
Right.
So what happens is now everyone's turned their back on me, which I'm thinking it's just because I got divorced. I'm like, bro, this is what happens? So the craziness is because I made the choice, the decision to start reading and studying the Bible and turn to Him.
Right.
That's all I had, bro. There was days where I was like, it's just you and me, man.
Right.
That's literally it. So it was at 37, 38, bro, when it finally, but again, learning is experiential.
Right.
I had to go through that, I think. So hitting rock bottom has given me a confidence, bro, like I can't even explain. So you can't touch me.
You've answered the first two questions, like, how did you come up, and then where's that pivot moment, right? So as you're describing that, so I'm sure everybody's thinking of the next question, like, well, how do you maintain that? So what's your compass? How are you able to balance that now? Because you've had 12 years of hard die fast moments.
Yes.
You know, it's like all these meetings we all go to, we get these golden nuggets or dropping diamonds and these tips, but nobody does anything.
Right.
You had no place or no choice but to do something, and you understand what that means in your life, now including business and everything else that you touch, right? Your whole life. But what's the compass, and then what is, you know, the challenge with the balance now?
So what sustained me, bro, is I was always a believer, right?
Yeah.
But I don't feel I was at that level of belief. So in that moment when that happened, I just, again, we talked about giving it to him all, just dropping it, right? All the bitter. So I'm talking to him and I hear him say, I had a thought that said, give me all the junk. I knew what he meant. And in the way he shows me stuff is like a 5-second movie clip. So I'm sitting there crying, right? And in my mind, I see an elevator come down. It hits the ground. The doors open up and he says, give me everything. And for me, I don't know why everything was in suitcases. And on the suitcase, it said bitterness. And bro, I'm just chunking them in the freaking elevator. Anger, bitterness, resentment, dude, it gets all full. I hit the thing and goes up. And I cannot even tell you this peace that I had, right? So I learned that the peace was from him, right? So then I was just like, I got to stay in him, bro. I got to stay. Like, this is something that's going to be a journey. This is going to be a day in and day out. So like we were talking about earlier, in our weakness, he is made strong. So when situations come, tests and trials, because they will come, it's like you have two options. It's kind of like when someone cuts you off, bro, right? Road rage. You have an option to retaliate, flip them off, cuss them out, whatever. Or you can say, maybe that dude's having a bad day.
Yeah.
It's literally that simple. It's not easy, but it's literally that simple. And so for me, brother, every time she did something, like still to this day, my girls are 20 and 21, she still keeps them away from me, does everything she can to screw up our relationship. So how do you deal with someone that does that, that's ongoing? Forget life, normal tests and trials and business and all that, but you've got someone for whatever reason, right, is just deliberately doing this. And we all have someone like that in our life. But I have just learned that to give her or whoever is jacking her out to the Lord. Yes, I have boundaries. I stand up for myself, but I go in, bro, the spiritual, where it's like, Lord, you know what I really want to do to this person? Help me.
Right.
And literally, bro, I'm having a conversation with him the way I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
And I don't have to be like, thee, thou, Lord. Dude, I'm just being real. And like,
That's
sometimes I'll tell him like, Lord, you know what I want to do? You know I'm wanting to hurt this person or do or retaliate or revenge.
Right.
Bro, I figured out the best revenge is just set them free.
Right.
Right? Because it sets you free. And so for me, brother, to continue this 12 years later, and the cool thing is it's gotten to the next level as far as I feel so alive and free and peace.
Yeah.
It goes more and more. So now, because of what I have, that's why I don't really talk about money, dude, because it has nothing to do with money.
Right.
Right? People think money's going to bring you happiness and joy. I love the quote by Jim Carrey, the actor. He's like, I wish everyone would get rich and famous and have everything they've ever wanted so they can figure out that's not it.
Right.
Right? Why do you have these celebrities and multi-gazillionaires that finally make it, dude, and they're committing suicide?
Yeah.
They're miserable, right? Because that's not it.
Right.
And when everyone says they want to be happy, they just, in my interpretation, they want to feel good.
Yeah.
So back to that point, bro, where suicide, all that, it was funny. There's you'll remember because of my generation, U2, the band. Yeah. There's a song that he says, I tried to drown talking about getting drunk. I tried to drown my sorrows, but they learned how to swim.
Yeah.
And I think, bro, whatever you're using for a coping mechanism, right? You're feeling terrible, so you want to get drunk. You're feeling terrible, so you want to sleep around. You're feeling terrible, so you want to do drugs, crystal meth, whatever, right? Instead of using that as a coping mechanism, Joe, I use Jesus as a coping mechanism. And I continue to do that every day. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. Do I screw up? Absolutely. But here's the thing, dude. Back then, when I would screw up, honestly, it would take me like a couple weeks, maybe a month to, get right with God. Now, dude, because of everything I've been through and the experiences that he is more real to me now, what used to take 3 or 4 weeks literally takes 2 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's this serious, this simple, like, Lord, I'm sorry I messed up, forgive me.
It's amazing.